This was really one of the first times that this story has been told from the point of view, if you will, of Jennifer.
Jennifer's life and death first made national headlines on the morning of August 26, 1986. That's when a female stock trader was on her morning bike ride and found the body of 18-year-old Jennifer Levin in Central Park. Detective Wally Zines was one of the first on the scene.
When we came to the scene, it was so horrific. It was like an animal mauled her. She had, her skirt was above her waist. Her bra, which had wire, was wrapped around her neck. She had scratches. She had contusions, lacerations. It was just a terrible, horrific scene. From a father's point of view, myself having children, it was heartbreaking.
So how did you know Jennifer was at the bar, Dorrian's?
We were able to find her girlfriend, whose name popped up a lot. And through conversation with her and other friends, we were able to know that she left with Robert, and they were walking towards Central Park.
So detectives asked Robert in for questioning, and he came freely. Reporter Sarah Wallace covered the story at the time.
They saw scratches all over his face, deep, penetrating scratches. He originally said they came from his cat, a cat who was declawed. Well, that story fell apart. So then Robert Chambers spun this tale of rough sex in the park.
She molested me in the park. She hit me. How could she molest you? We're talking about what? Girls cannot do it to a guy. What are you telling me? She's raping you in the park? She's having her way with me, without my consent, with my hands behind my back, hurting me.
But Mike Sheehan, one of the other lead detectives, didn't believe Robert's account due to Jennifer's injuries.
Jennifer was lying out on a gurney, and we examined her from head to toe. The bruising was all over the face. The marks on the neck were darker and deeper. It looked like she was strangled.
A very different story than that of Mr. Chambers, but the damage already seemed to be done when it came to media coverage.
I'll never forget it. He said, well, do yourself a favor, go buy the Daily News or the Post. The headlines are rough sex.
And in that moment, the course of this trial would forever change, and prosecutor Linda Fairstein would have her work cut out for her.
From the first headlines about the case, when the media described Robert Chambers as the preppy killer, there was nothing preppy about him. The first couple of weeks were all centered on Robert Chambers and what a great background he came from and what a fine young man he must be. And that battle remained in front of us the entire way.
This was one of the most sensational criminal cases ever in New York City history. Jennifer Levin and Robert Chambers left an Upper East Side bar in the early morning hours of August 26, 1986. They went to Central Park. Her body was found about 6:30 a.m. by a bicyclist. She was half clothed, she was strangled, and in a bizarre twist, Robert Chambers stayed at the scene. He watched crime scene detectives arrive, claiming that he actually had been frozen by what happened. And then he went home and went to sleep.
The case turned Robert Chambers into a darling of the tabloids, which called him the preppy killer, a handsome young man who was simply trying to protect himself. But the producers of the new AMC series, The Preppy Murder: Death in Central Park, are trying to set the record straight.
This has always been perceived as a crime about sex, and sex that went rough. And in fact, this was not a sexual crime at all. This was murder.
Prosecutor Linda Fairstein was assigned to the case and knew she had an uphill battle due to all of the news coverage.
There's no question in my mind that a lot of the media fascination with Robert Chambers was his physical appearance. In jury selection, the hundreds of jurors we went through, so many commented on his physical appearance, saying somebody who looked like that would not have to force a woman in any way to do anything.
And the tabloid newspapers pounced all over it. Jennifer Levin was just this loose floozy who was in the park with this handsome guy. Every day, there was a more sensational headline. One of the tabloid reporters told me at the time that they had a contest on who could come up with the most salacious headline.
And Jennifer Levin's mother knew exactly who was to blame: Robert Chambers' defense attorney, Jack Littman.
Jack Littman was extremely dangerous. He was very smooth, he was very bright. He had absolutely no mercy for Jennifer.
The defense played into this choir boy image of Robert Chambers. The defense went full on against Jennifer Levin.
Public perception was so deep that even when the truth began to come out about Robert Chambers, people still blamed Jennifer for her own death.
We learned so much about Robert Chambers in the weeks and months as we dug into the case.
A former altar boy, the product of New York's most elite private schools, also an admitted drug abuser.
His family did not have money, and he'd sort of been pushed into this group of kids, but he had to steal to get the money to do drugs. Well, we sort of accumulated evidence of more than 30 crimes he committed.
But that evidence would never see the light of day at trial.
The evidence in the case seemed overwhelming to me. That included the autopsy report about how Jennifer died, the photographs, the injuries to her neck, face, body, that she scratched him. Robert Chambers had scratches on his face and chest. And then once Chambers admitted that he had been with her at Dorrian's, left Dorrian's bar with her, walked into the park.
Despite what prosecutor Linda Fairstein believed, it was far from an open and shut case. AMC documentary producer Bobby Friedman explained some of the explosive evidence that was withheld from the jury.
DNA evidence was very new at the time. Believe it or not, it was not admissible. Many of his past behaviors, the burglaries that he had done.
Detective Wally Zines knew that Robert's past crimes were critical to explaining who Robert really was.
We did so much investigation work on Robert Chambers, and some of the things, he was a cold-blooded thief. He would go to all these parties with all these rich kids who hung out at Dorrian's, and when they'd have the parties, him and his buddy would go into the bedrooms, take coats, take jewelry, take whatever money they can get to feed their habit. He was had a bad drug habit.
But this information never made it to the jury, and neither did this key point.
One of the critical pieces of evidence that really tied to the thefts of Robert's was our theory that after Robert killed Jennifer in Central Park, he stole her pierced earrings. When her body was found, the earrings were gone. They were not on her body. And it was so typical of the year and a half that I had come to know Robert that he would never leave anywhere without stealing whatever was around.
With so much evidence against Robert not available to the jury, no one was sure what to expect during deliberations. Reporter Sarah Wallace covered the story at the time.
After 9 days of deliberations, they couldn't come to an agreement on the second-degree murder. So we heard that Robert Chambers was going to take a plea deal of first-degree manslaughter.
But a plea deal came as a shock to the prosecution.
I went down first to talk to the district attorney and then to talk to the Levin family to ask them what they wanted to do.
Levins agreed to the plea deal, believing a jury may not convict Robert based on the evidence they were allowed to see. So Robert pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter.
Robert Chambers' sentence was 5 to 15 years. Generally, people get out after serving 2/3 of their time. Robert Chambers was such a nightmare in prison. He was constantly in trouble that he ended up serving the maximum sentence of 15 years.
The victory that I wanted to give the Levins was that he was convicted of a violent crime and went to state prison for a long time.
Why I'm even telling this story now. I have 2 daughters, and this is an important part of my daughter's upbringing. Knowing this story, it's a cautionary tale, and it's a lot about instinct.
So when Robert came into your life, you were how old and he was how old?
So I was 16.
Alex Cabb was Robert's girlfriend at the time of Jennifer's murder.
I was a junior in high school. He was 19. We met at a party. He was really, really good looking. I'd seen him around a little bit, so our sort of center where we all met each other and where I'd first seen him and where I met all these people was at a bar called Dorrian's. You know, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe it.
So there was this handsome older man who everyone in the bar.
Yeah, and I was like done, cooked from that minute on.
But quickly, Alex noticed things going missing when Robert was around, including money from her wallet the night before Jennifer was murdered. The next day, she asked him to meet at Dorian's.
It was getting more and more crowded, and I was getting more and more mad. And in the midst of all this, a girl whom I'd seen a little bit around came up to me and sort of introduced herself.
And this is Jennifer.
Yeah. She was going off to college, so she was a grade older, but probably 18 when I was 16.
She came up, she had a
came
friendship
up, gave me a friendship bracelet. She just said, I've always wanted to meet you, and I've heard things about you. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. It was just an odd exchange.
Right.
And I left it at that. I wasn't focused on her, I was focused on him. In the meantime, the girls I was supposed to be staying with had a very serious relationship with her first real boyfriend, and she wanted to be sexually active. And she was so afraid her parents would find out that she asked me to hold her bag of condoms, which were in like a paper lunch bag. So he finally rolls in, maybe at 10:30 or 11. I'm ready to go, like seething, just mad, and I'm gonna confront him, and then we're gonna talk about it, and he's gonna apologize, and then we're gonna get back together, you know, we're gonna be fine, and we're gonna go get married. In my head, that's how this all goes.
But that's not how it went at all.
I said, you know, use these with someone else because you're not gonna get the chance to use them with me, and I threw the bag in his face, and all the condoms just went all over him and fell to the floor, and everybody turned around, and everybody was laughing.
Alex left the bar, and the next morning, a girlfriend called and told her to come over immediately.
She had a newspaper in her hand, and I said, what are you doing? And she just had this blank look on her face, like, and I said, what is going on? And she said, do you know that girl that came up to you last night? And she said, she died. And I said, what do you mean she died? We were just with her.
Alex couldn't believe what anyone was telling her about Robert killing Jennifer. She thought it had been an accident, like he was telling the media, so she decided to talk to Robert herself.
We're in his room, I'm sitting on his bed, he's sitting across from me, and I looked under his desk, and he had newspapers piled from the floor all the way up to the underside of the desk. And I said, oh, and I was joking, and I said, oh, well, I guess the good news is you finally got what you wanted. You got to be famous. And he looked at me, and he had this look on his face like it was like a smirk or a smile, and didn't say a word. And in that very split second, it was like I just froze and knew, oh my God, he murdered this girl. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I'm in a room with his door closed. I have to get out of here. He's a murderer. And he just smirked and didn't respond, and I just kind of said, all right, well, you know, oh, I should probably go. My mom's probably wondering where I am. Oh my God, I could be dead in 5 seconds. Like, I really, for some reason, something shifted in that look in his eye. There was no remorse. There was no, like, yeah, I'm saving all these newspapers about myself. It's insane. I mean, we never so I sort of stood up, backed out of the room. I kind of opened the door. He gets up with me. He's walking with me. I'm sort of backing into the living room. I got him, pressed the elevator button. You know, I'm trying to seem kind of relaxed and cool, whatever. And the elevator came, and the door opened, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll talk to you later. And he kind of stood in front of the elevator door just looking at me. And I've said this before, but as the door started to close, if he had shoved his hand in like that, like a movie, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, not until that door was completely closed did I think, oh my God, I just made it out of there alive. And the elevator got to the ground floor, and I took off running. Bolted. Ran all the way home, sobbing, burst into my apartment, told my parents everything.
I'm curious to know, in that immediate aftermath, after sort of the showdown at the bar, did anyone kind of make you feel like, well, this is your fault? Or if you hadn't enraged him, he wouldn't have done what he did?
Almost everybody.
Really?
Yeah. Like, everybody was like, if you hadn't picked a fight with him that night, maybe he wouldn't have left with her. I felt terrible. That I did feel for her family. Terrible guilt. I mean, I snuck into her funeral. I didn't even know her. I sat in the back by myself. I saw all these kids like crying, people I'd never seen before me, like crying and hugging in front of news cameras and stuff. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, I just felt terribly guilty. I still, honestly, to this day, if you ask me if I feel like I'm responsible, I would not say I'm responsible, but I would say I had a part in it. And that's a strange thing to start out your life on. So yeah, it still sits there.
How do you work through that?
I acted out, and I treated myself poorly, and I abused myself for a long time, I think, just because I felt this shame. And then at a certain point, I think I just recognized, like, wait a second, you know, just because she died His murder, he murdered somebody. He didn't mean that he was going to be me or not be me or be her or not be her. Like, he made a choice or had a rash decision to murder somebody.
Alex still has moments of guilt, but is trying to move on. She's a working actress, mother, and a divorce coach. As for Robert, he was released in 2003 after pleading guilty to manslaughter in Jennifer's case, but in 2008, he was sent back to prison for 19 years for unrelated drug charges. He will be out in less than 5 years.
He's an old, tired drug addict, sociopath. He's a thug. So if he gets out, he'll be close to 60. I think he'll either die or he'll end up right back in prison where he belongs.
It was so surreal to be 17 and wake up and find out someone's been murdered that you spoke to every day on the phone.
The people who knew Jennifer best, including her best friend Peter Davis, remember her being a beautiful 18-year-old about to leave for college.
I met Jennifer through mutual friends in high school, and the summer before she was murdered, we had spent the whole summer together in Southampton, and I had been with her the night before she was killed. Jennifer was very funny, very loyal friend. This is before iPhones and Blackberries and cell phones, so you spoke on the phone every day. That was a big thing to like call your friends and check on the phone. People spent a lot of time on the phone, and people saw each other a lot more because nobody lived the way teenagers do virtually. We saw each other in real life. She was really a good girl that was really in the worst place at the worst time. And to say it could have been anyone is kind of true because there's no specific reason that it was her, except that she, had a crush on this guy that was handsome, that was the wrong guy, that was older than us, and, not really a part of our group.
Jennifer Levin's name was splashed across every newspaper and TV news report, but a lot of the media led with Robert's rough sex story, and that hasn't set well with Peter all these years.
Looking back, I really avoided reading everything, but of course you can't avoid that stuff, and, she's made to seem wild, and by his lawyer, Jack Littman, made to seem wild and out of control. I didn't speak at all to any media or press when it happened, but then looking back, everything that came out that really misrepresented who she was is the reason I want to speak now.
As a result of this case and the defense's claims against Jennifer's character, rape shield laws have been passed. Ricky Stern and Annie Sundberg, the producers of AMC's documentary The Preppy Murder Death in Central Park, explain.
Jennifer Levin's mother, Ellen Levin, worked hard after the case ended to change the law, and she was successful. So it was important for her to work to change the law to say that you can't, as a victim, have your previous sexual history be brought in a criminal case. And when they passed that law, I think there was this moment for Ellen Levin to say that, she was going to take something and make something out of this loss for her daughter.
It's been nearly 30 years since Jennifer's death, and Peter imagines what could have become of her if she'd lived.
Definitely a mom. She was very maternal, like a sweet Jewish mom, probably. And I would guess that she would have worked maybe in fashion. She was into clothes. She'd definitely, have it together. And definitely have kids, probably 3 by now.